If I only knew how to sing that new Dutch bus song that's going viral, I should have led with that one.
Dutch bus. What's this?
You haven't seen it? You don't even heard it? Oh, I'll play it after. I'll play it after this particular video that I got set up, and we can laugh.
Oh boy. Okay.
People will be like, "Oh, these guys are with the trends now. They're modern."
Matt's with the trends. I have no idea what the Dutch bus thing is. I'm actually even worried repeating that I'm getting myself in trouble.
Not that bad. It's just the song. It's a fun dance everybody's doing. Anyways, good morning, everybody, to another Wake Up and Deliver, Season 3, Episode 8 with John and Matt. As always, we're well into March. Yeah, it's March 16th.
Yeah, mid-March.
Tomorrow's St. Patty's Day. I'm wearing green. I didn't send the memo to John to wear green.
Tomorrow.
We'll do selfies. Yeah. It's March break for us up here in Ontario. I'm not sure about the rest of the provinces. I'm for sure not the States because they do spring break, which is a little bit different. But March break.
I thought it was the same for the most part. I thought that's why it was so crazy. Was that I thought the U.S. spring break was aligned to our high school March break.
Not that I am aware of.
Either way,
well, we let the people.
Someone, if you know out there, why don't you drop it in the comments?
Drop it in March break.
If you're on spring break right now, just hashtag supply
logistics gone wild.
Oh wow! If anyone actually does that, I'm gonna laugh or watch for it.
On that note, I got a video for John. As always, not as always, we switched it up from motivational quotes to scary videos.
Yeah.
And here we go. Bring it to the stage. Put some sound into it. I don't know if I'll play the whole video. We'll see how John's reactions go.
Looks long. Oh, okay.
For context, John, minute 16 is not long.
In Ohio, it's approximately 300,000 square feet, and we manage the retail operations for a global leader in sportswear. Currently have about 100,000 locations throughout the facility that house 2.6 million.
Okay, I'm gonna pause here for a second because I need to make a comment.
There's no robotics.
I don't know if it's me now watching a lot of these videos, but a lot of this looks AI.
It does. You're right. You know what I mean? The barcodes look a little bit suspect, and the boxes are way too clean. I know that sounds bad. Actually, even for a dry warehouse, guys, honestly, even for a dry warehouse,
those boxes don't look great.
Way too stacked. There's actually no wrap anywhere to be seen, which could be possible. But I find it hard to believe that you'd have something that's what is this thing? 5-6 rows, tiers high, and none of them is for overstock. That seems strange because you're not cherry picking off the top for fast moving SKUs.
And where the skids? There's no skids on it.
That's what I'm saying. If you were picking, I've seen people really try to maximize the bag cube by just essentially just putting the boxes in there, but you're doing that because you're picking out of the cases, or you're using the cases to essentially drop down. This does look very suspect, guys. I agree with Matt on this one.
And the number, one thing they do get right that throws me off is the numbers are perfect up top. For the rows, I looked at them 3 times over. So I'm oh, okay, that's kind of odd. But some of the labeling, like you said, is kind of odd. Some places have 3 stickers, some places have 2 stickers. Some stickers are kind of all over the place. It's very suspect.
And guys, this is how ridiculous it is. But when you've lived life in a warehouse, even that many boxes, and every one of the boxes only using red tape, of course, if they were their own packaging facility or manufacturing facility and they did that, maybe if this is all just from one customer, but again, that's a lot of uniformity. It feels off. So I agree with Matt that, watch your promo videos and watch your sales decks that come in, because this stuff is kind of just finding its way into everything.
Anyways, we're going to continue.
Different units.
The Verity drones are helping us improve inventory accuracy, our productivity, helping improve our service levels to our customer.
It's important that we have the right information, because anytime that the customer...
But the boxes, is he superimposed on a green screen? I don't mean to start dissecting this video, but then this all throws me off as well. I'm going to continue to let that marinate with John here. I'm not
going to lie. I'm not going to lie. I was actually looking. I'm can I see any different colored tape or anything?
Orders a product, we want to make sure that we have that product in stock. With the Verity drones, we're making sure that the right box is there every single time.
Customers' expectation is for our inventory accuracy to be at or above 99%. And with the Verity system, this allows us to exceed that metric.
Defining happiness with the clients.
But sorry,
ensuring
pause that
they
for a
have
second.
that
Though.
trust in
Like, pause that for a second. So, like, guys, even with this kind of thing, like, this is where this is a little suspect, and this is where I feel that this is like tough, because he's like, oh, this Verity drone, which these types of drones, what they do, the whole premise is that they do a quasi type of cycle count. Like, they're going through to check all of your overstock, and they're scanning the labels to see what boxes you have there, and based on the labels, they're counting it. But again, no skids, no wraps, so not full pallets. So the only thing the drone can actually scan is whatever the front-facing labels are. So there's this wild assumption that if you are going to be at 99 point whatever percent, that every box behind the one you scan is identical to the one that you scan, or you understand what the depth is. And you can clearly see that they're more than, like, you know, one box deep, like in some of these, like even where Buddy is here at the front, you see there's a second row. There's no way for that drone to know 100%, unless, of course, they're all tagged on the outside, but that top box is not tagged on the outside, that they're all the same product, and that they're exactly the same product. They should be, of course, by the bay, and you know, you can make inferences. Oh, I see this many boxes, and they're in, you know, the bay for the green shoes, so they should be the green shoes. But again, you know, that's not a real 99%. That's an extrapolated 99%. So anyways, let's continue. Now I'm having fun with this. Let's go.
Execute on all metrics operationally. So I think this will benefit Maersk in the marketplace. Our clients will understand that we have the technology available, which will help them from an inventory visibility perspective, which is directly correlated to a financial impact for the client base.
That was definitely an AI exit on that aspect.
Well, and entrance. It was very sus on the entrance. But yeah, so I don't know. It's funny because, like, this is real world tech. So, like, you can go out and actually kind of buy this stuff at different sizes of warehouse activity. It's not inaccessible. Essentially works all the same. You know what I mean? This is ultra dense, that picture there. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, you know, technology exists. Do I know if I could say that this video is 100% correct? There's not too many warehouses I've seen that would have that level of pure uniformity for that much stuff. Like, there wasn't even a garbage bin on the floor. There was nothing at the end caps. Like, there was nothing.
They were doing a video shoot. They prepped it, obviously, John.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
marketing.
I don't, you know, most warehouses, for example, especially the big ones and stuff like that, like, you're going to see a quasi, let's call it like a quasi infrastructure for, like, you know, the garbage. Like, the bins will be, like, you know, correctly and cleanly put into, you know, end of aisles. You'll see more, like, sort of walkway areas. Like, there's kind of like
there's bins there. Look, there's bins.
Yeah, okay, there's one there. Like, yeah, but I mean, it looks like it's a Rubbermaid, just like, so they got all these drones flying around, and they're just slapping a green garbage bin like at the end. And here's the other thing that kind of is a little bit sus to this. Like, you have some on the floor, but there's like no walkways painted at all here.
Yeah, I noticed
no
that too.
Like, yeah, like, there's nothing that, like, implies, like, where people should or shouldn't walk. Like, now maybe this is a zone where people shouldn't be walking at all because it's all forks and stuff. But anyways, like, I agree with you that there's, like, enough, like, even stuff with, like, the lights in this image feel a little bit off.
The way the giant fans look, the numbers are all perfect though. Like, that's the things that usually you look for an image to be AI, but then there's no numbers further on.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, it just seems strange. And, like, the other thing that's missing, typically, guys, if you're running a big warehouse like this, a big operation, it's one thing to have, like, the aisles numbered and stuff like that, but very, very, very often with this much activity, your loadout, whether those are inbound or outbound doors, there would be some signage, there'd be some visual management on that loadout area, because that's just like, well, what's going on? Is it in? Is it out? Is it processed? Not processed? Like,
so I thought about inventory drones before, and I kind of joked about it when I was running a warehouse a few years back. Like, oh, we should just get some drones to run the inventory automatically. But when I kind of ran the thought process behind it, like, RFID technology and just kind of knowing when things are moving within the warehouse automatically always seemed like an easier position than flying a drone to just do a
like
count.
cycle counts.
Yeah. Like, if you have a RFID slapped on sticker on all the boxes, and you have interrogators in the aisles knowing exactly what's there, the box moves, it will go off. So
Yeah,
no, there's less.
The only challenge with RFID like that is that like you need a lot of sensors. Like you need a lot of sensors, and they go offline pretty regularly.
Okay, well, I mean, then you use the drones to scan, like not the barcodes, just to run through and do a count that way, so it's quicker. Or a robot on the ground, or something along the lines, right?
Well,
like,
the biggest benefits, like when you're thinking of RFID, is like I don't always need to know, like for example, like with an RFID tag, like everything that's in the rows, but like you make sure that like if the product first obviously is coming in from manufacturing with like the RFID tags, as you inbound, it passes through the gates, right? Like special gates. I've captured everything that's in it, and then everything that's out goes through the gates. So you kind of like what's 100% that came in and what's 100% that went out. Any variances at that point, like if your WMS says like, you know, you have 1,000 and you know, you do a cycle count, or what realistically happens with most modern warehouses that they're doing like they're doing continuous cycle counts. Like they do a cycle count or they do a quantity confirm like at a threshold. So it's like, oh, this bin has 5 left. Like, does it actually have 5 left? Yes or no? And if you say no, it'll ask you for the number. And then most of the time it'll ask you twice, because they really want to make sure that the operator is inputting it correctly, because that double entry and that that entry becomes like an inventory transaction, because they immediately write out something. Like they say, oh, it's not 5, there's 4. Don't know why, but like the focus first is on just pure inventory accuracy and transparency. And then you're kind of building this bucket of like, I don't know what's going on. And if you know 1,000 came in and you know at the end of a cycle, like, you know, 900 went out, and your inventory says that you should still have 100. And the last time people did all the counts, it was 0. I mean, there's only so many things that could happen to it at that point, realistically, but either way, it's usually a loss.
Yeah, that's a good point. The only thing is, one thing I was kind of thinking about even the drones is how long can they continuously flying, and how much are they going to actually do? And it's good for maybe like a nighttime when there's less traffic that's happening, that you run the drones. But like, how long can a drone operate, stand still, do an inventory check before it runs out of battery and has to go cycle through again?
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, like the things are cheap enough in the grand scheme of things that, like, you know, if the thing can run for 45 to 60 minutes and it can complete like, depending on the way you're doing it, usually they're going up and down, like they're doing sections and they're going up and down and stuff like that. So it's like, if it could complete like 3 columns, 4 columns before it has to leave, like it's running continuously. What would end up happening is the next one just comes over, that one goes to charge or whatever, and it keeps kind of running. But I agree with you that, like, you know, there's some challenges there too, because, you know, have you guys ever been into like one of the big retailers that used to do like traditional, like real hardcore cycle counts? Funny enough, I actually saw even Walmart still doing this for the most part, at least with their Canadian stores. They basically get ready and they do the count like in one shot, like one night. They bring in a ton of temp people, because the thing is, the problem with these counts is that they're like snapshots in a moment in time. And it's like, if it takes you too long to count, like what ends up happening is that you capture, you know what your WMS says, you capture a record from the drone, and then that drone says, I checked this amount at this time. So it kind of like resets the inventory. And then immediately the assumption becomes that every transaction that is processed like from that bay or whatever after the drone count is immediately deducted, like from essentially the transaction register. Anyways, I mean, I think the technology is interesting, but still.
John likes this part. He likes this warehouse talk today.
It's the inventory stuff is super important, because I mean, I think it's one of those things that like people don't really realize how important it is for any retailer, any wholesaler or whatever to actually be able to control. Because here's the thing. It's super easy to never be out of stock. Okay. Like, so if someone's like, hey, I need to make sure that I never miss a sale. Well, it's the easiest way to fix. It's like, if I think I'm going to sell 500, just buy 5,000. You'll never be out of stock and you will never miss a sale. You're going to drive your business into the ground because you'll have no cash, but you will never miss a sale from being out of stock. So the real issue with inventory is trying to find a system that works for your business in terms of like your lead times, your sourcing, your variability in products, your seasonality, and your cash. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, you know, people seem to just rely on the fact that like their 3PL or whatever is doing it. But I mean, put it to you this way. But put it to you this way. So if you're a D2C brand and you've got your product in a warehouse, and even if they're doing daily cycle counts, if at the end of 30 days they've written off or they've unaccounted for 10 items, 15 items, okay, maybe it's not a big variance or whatever, but at what point does the unaccounted variance, and if you're not aware of it until it becomes a problem, become an issue? Because if you're
how much loss are you willing to take because of that miscount or that loss of that variance?
Well,
right?
but it's not even miscount. Most of the time, it's stuff actually getting damaged or misshipped or like whatever in the warehouse, and you don't find out about it. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like, and then this is the other thing people don't understand is that they're like, hey, I have 1,000 units in inventory, they're all worth $10. So I have $10,000 worth of assets, and you're like, well, they've kind of lost 100, so now you don't have 10,000, you've got 9,000. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why the new play that you're seeing, and we've talked about it many times over, of how the TikToks, the Temus, and all those kind of things are like basically from manufacturer straight to consumer, is so much interesting because you eliminate that middle variance, and you're like wondering, well, how can they do it for so cheap? It's because they also get rid of a lot of that middle aspect of it. Whether it's coming in here, re-putting it in inventory, you're adding an additional cost by handling it. They're reducing a lot of that cost by simply shipping it right from the factory right to your door too, right? And you don't get those variances. Either you received or you didn't, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was a cool video. Good. That was fun because normally Matt's been showing very suspect videos of like, you know, ships under attack or something like that.
That was just last week. It was happening. It was live news. We're trying to be upbeat. We're trying to be cool with the times.
Yeah. So, but actually, that was a good discussion because you know what? That's the type of technology right there that a lot of you out there are probably being solicited for pretty regularly. You're being told that it's going to solve all of your problems and stuff like that. You know, and like anything, it has advantages, it has some disadvantages, and it works better for the reality is in the best thing, and this is the most accurate thing for almost any process, any service provider, any tech, whatever you want to think. It will always work better for certain businesses than others. You know what I mean? It's
funny you talk about tech and all these kind of things. Like this technology is not new, right? Like this has been around for a couple of years, and it seems a lot of the things that have come up, and you and I have talked about this even before the show. It's like, where's the latest? And we've said this a few times now. Where's the latest news that's happening? And you know, the biggest indicator for me recently was Manifest, which is a technology show for logistics. In the last couple of years, it would have been like everybody was talking about it. I remember we used to have podcasts. Everybody was just talking about Manifest, like all the cool things that are happening at Manifest. And then this year's Manifest, I didn't hear like anything. And you and I have also talked about, is the algorithm different on LinkedIn, or is it not showing the same things anymore? Because in the past, it was, you know, everybody that we knew in the logistics circles was that Manifest. Everybody was like, hey, who's going? I didn't see that. I didn't see any after conversations. I didn't see any promotion of it, right? So interesting enough, you know, social media really focuses on what is trending and what isn't trending. And it could have just been weeded out. Manifest could have been a killer show. John and I wasn't on that list of seeing that trend, right?
No, I agree with you. I mean, I think it's there. I think I'm not surprised 100% because I think like all of the bigger, you know, the retail shows and different types of things that have been going on this year, I from what I heard, it was very overhyped on AI, you know, in the sense of like, you know,
and in that sense, like how do you think going forward with the way that mass media with social media and everything is pushing it, how long do you think conferences have before people just don't see a value or it becomes the value? Because I see it going either it being everything or it being nothing, right?
I honestly, I think short term, a lot of these trade shows, a lot of these conferences are gonna continue to operate and they'll get the draw and stuff like that. But I mean, like the reality is, for the most part, I'll say a broad majority of people dislike being sold. They don't want to be sold to or whatever. And like these things are like heavy sales things. And then like the other challenge is that everybody is selling in very similar ways, and everyone is making kind of the same promises. And this is like one of my favorite things, just when I talk about like the buy side from carriers and like logistics services. Everyone will tell you they're the best, and that's kind of the same thing going on with all of these software platforms, with all of these shipping platforms, like all of these things. And it's like, but they're not doing anything different really in the grand scheme of things. And then with the 3 or 4 biggies there with AI, like they're trying to eat everyone's lunch and everything. Like they're trying to find a way to become everybody's thing. So I think it's really tough. And I think more businesses than not are feeling like, I'd rather stabilize, I'd rather sell, I'd rather, try to work my marketing, so to speak, than to do these really broad infrastructure investments. Like here's a good one, like that we were talking about too before we started. We're talking about FedEx. So FedEx announced last week that they're coming out with like a new B2B reusable packaging thing. So if you think about it, like you're a retailer, you've got regional DCs, you've got stores, you're shipping in like totes and things like that. Well, FedEx now like has their own program where it's like a type of reusable tote. They say you can use it up to 50 times. It's supposed to save money, blah, 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 whatever. For some retailers, like, of course, like that really applies. None of those retailers don't have a solution like this already in place. The only real advantage is the fact that if you do significant shipping with FedEx, now you all of a sudden can buy into their packaging, ecosystem. You can buy into some of these other tools. Like that's like the theme that's continuing everywhere, is just all of these mega corporations are continuing to try to expand their services to just eat up the types of individualized services that people have launched over the last, let's call it 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, but I think it's over centralized as well. I'm curious to see how many people will buy into that. Now, using the same token, that recently there was a comment made that a lot of shippers are moving towards private fleets. They're sick and tired of hiring carrier for hire or brokers, because they want to control more of that spend, and they want to hire their own private fleets. And I kind of sat there and I thought that for a second. I'm going, how true is that, right? Like, is it true, or is it just a centralized post that things are kind of adjusting in the marketplace, and is this cyclical and all that aspect of it? And the big thing that came up to my mind is, who is the biggest private fleet in Canada? Walmart. Walmart got rid of theirs. They sold theirs. So they went against the trend that the individual in Canada, but even in the US, they do outsource the middle mile. They outsource a lot of the different aspects of it. They might do some of the final mile. They might do it in routes that have density. They're going to cherry pick the locations that make sense for their private fleet, and everything else they'll still sell it to third parties, whether asset third parties or brokerage third parties. That being said, and if everybody was going private fleet, Amazon wouldn't be creating a logistics division. Walmart wouldn't be creating a logistics division, right? And then you think about the smaller guys. The smaller guys don't have the means to create their own private fleet. Like, how many? An example here in Toronto is breweries and wineries in Niagara struggle because they've created their own trucking arm of it, but it's such a sink for them. Like, it costs so much money because they're like, I'm getting my product to where I need to get it, but it costs them so much money to do it. Right. Yeah,
that's like a funny one too, because like shipping alcohol, especially like glass liquid, is like glass-based liquid for the most part. Like, talk about the most disastrous thing. Something like water-based that's essentially ultra heavy in the grand scheme of things for commoditized shipments, and then let's make it breakable on top of it. Like two of the worst things that you could do. So of course they tried to do that, but you're right. Like, it works when you have a certain level of density, and the problem is that things keep fracturing and segmenting, and the alcohol industry in general is having a hard time just because of the fact that consumption
drinking
is way down. And over the last, 10 years, like, things like craft breweries, for example, like, broader exposure to different products, just because of, hey, this is innovation. Not really innovation when you just bring something in from another country, but anyway, my point being is that you continue to like segment and fracture your base, because what most people seem to not grasp is that if you offer 1,000 products, you will sell a bit of everything. If you offer 500 products, you're probably going to still sell most of everything to those same customers, because people have a tendency to like, they'll buy broader if they have the choice. But like, if you rein it in a bit, like most of the time, it's not completely like upsetting the apple cart.
Yeah, so that's what makes Amazon such a cool retailer. It's because it literally is the everything store. So if you want something very specific and niche that you can't find at a niche store anymore, you go to Amazon because nobody else will carry it, right? And that's what a lot of those niche products, they live and survive in that.
Yeah, but I've said this to you before, but the reason why Amazon gets away with that is because like over 60% of the volume that's happening on there is through third-party sellers. They've put up the cash for it. They've invested the money. Amazon just sits there and is like, yeah, come put it in my store. We'll advertise it. It's all good, guys. No problem. But they didn't put up the cash for it. And that's the real secret sauce of Amazon. I get to look like the person that sells you everything. I get to list it like you can find it all in one place, and I don't have to pay for it.
It's the modern Sears catalog. Yeah. Right? Like back in the day, back in the early 1900s, you wanted anything, you had the Sears catalog, and it used to be like a giant phone book, and you'd go through it and you'd be like, I want this. And you can buy a house that way back in the day. I was going to
say, did you know you could buy a house from it?
Yeah, you can buy a house and they would ship you everything. And that is the original, like it's not a novel new idea. But you know, it is modernized in the way that they did it, and how everybody's now addicted to that position. But again, I think they're struggling with different things. They're trying to diversify as always. They're trying to create new ways to innovate because their core business isn't their moneymaker, and it hasn't been for a long time. It's just
the logistics stuff, or what people view that has never been really their money.
Yeah, well, or even just the retail aspect of it. It's the AWS, it's the the at-home stuff, and you haven't seen a lot of Alexa lately.
The advertising is a big piece, but I mean, again, like, you know what I mean, and the commission, the sales commission, and whatever from the listings and stuff, like
60% of drop shipping, because everybody in 3-4 years ago was doing drop shipping as a way to make money. It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's funny. It's funny to see all of this stuff because, like, other retailers just couldn't afford to have that, or can't afford to have that much choice and stuff like that. And that's what most people don't really grasp. And I find that probably one of the biggest things that, I've seen working with smaller businesses, especially these like direct to consumer businesses, is that they fall into this trap of like innovation. Like, ooh, I've got to innovate. I've got to line expand, because they want to start talking I want to be with this retailer. I want to be able to sell here. I want to be able to sell there and whatever. But the reality is, they usually, even when their business is strong, like at the core, they usually don't have a lot of cash or ability to expand like their line, because they're putting a lot of money in inventory. One of the funniest things on there, I think I had messaged them once about it because I was so curious. These guys, have you seen them on LinkedIn? Like the Frost Buddy guys that sell like the cups, and like they've got them all skinned and stuff now.
No,
they do a lot. They do a lot with different colors, different team logos, different this, different that. Right. Disastrous business from a SKU count. So I had messaged them. I think I forget it. I'd have to look at my messages from back in the day if they answered. But I was like, "There's no way you guys could be actually holding this as inventory. Like you've got to be doing a generic and then print. You've got to be doing some kind of like wrap. Like there's just no way that you're getting these things so that you have boxes of like school A versus school B versus school C. And if you do, it would be like ultra limited quantities. But even then, like." That sheer volume of SKU management's wild.
Generic and kind of push it out. But even going back to your position on Amazon and having that 60%, like you talk about grocery stores are the same way too, though, right? Like you got to buy that shelf space to be visible. That's why you don't see a lot of new cool products at your big grocery stores, because that SKU space is limited to very limited companies. Like they don't want a warehouse. They don't want a warehouse everything.
Very often they'll let you. It's just you got to have the $100,000 or $400,000 or whatever to buy the space.
But on that note,
oh look, we're right at time.
But as an exit, I gotta play you the song I promised.
Oh my God, the Dutch bus,
so the double Dutch bus. We're gonna play that.
That sounds even more suspect.
I hope everybody enjoys. John's reaction to our exit video.
There's a double Dutch bus coming down the street. It's moving pretty fast, so kinda shuffle yo.
You haven't heard this?
No,
Get on the bus, pay your
I got 3 kids too, and I still haven't heard this.
Ask your kids.
No, I don't know if I want to.
Ride on, my double Dutch bus.
So I was going to intro with this song today, doing some kind of part of this dance, but I have no rhythm, so I'll just.
I would have no chance. I couldn't even tell if there was like a sequence happening there.
It's a catchy tune. At first, I scuffed at this when my wife told me, and now it's just embedded in here, and I just kind of walk on.
Oh my god! Guess what message Matt's gonna wake up to tomorrow morning when I just send him something random.
We double Dutch bus all week. He's gonna be like, why am I listening to the double Dutch bus again?
There you go.
On that note, thank you everybody again. Good morning for joining us. Thanks for being here with us. We always have a great time, and we'll catch you next week.